What is up, everybody? Welcome to part 4 of this incredible series to start the new year out, introducing you guys to the word Igigai. And we're unpacking that inside of your mortgage business. How do you see yourself? Where do you need to improve? Where do you need to double down? What do you need to let go of? And none of this matters if you can't identify where you're at. And so we've been talking through some different types of people inside the industry. Yesterday, in the last episode, we talked about being old school, and not necessarily, Shane, in a bad way, because there are incredible characteristics that a lot of old school lenders carry. And today, we're going to talk about modern. If you're the modern LO, and before you puff your chest out and go, yeah, I'm the modern LO, it's not all good, right? That there's weakness everywhere. And so let's dive in, Shane, to in all your years of doing this, the modern LO.
Yeah, I mean, I've been told I was the modern LO back when I started in 09, and I was, well, probably more like 2012 when I actually like did enough production to like be able to say I was an originator.
Yeah.
But the reality is the modern LO, the best modern LO also has old school characteristics, and the best old school LO also has modern characteristics. I think one of the big differences is that the modern LO is typically using tools that have a much higher ceiling, if any ceiling at all, so they can scale quite a bit more. In addition, I think there's also a mindset of a modern LO that is, I would say, very inquisitive. Like they're like, dude, did you try that new technology? Man, did you see that new thing? Hey, I'm trying this new. Now that can also be a problem because they have a lot of distractions. So an old school LO, they're doing the same thing every day, bringing their suitcase to the office every day, same time. They're more predictable. The modern LO is a little bit less predictable. They have ADHD, they're kind of bouncing around. So again, we're not saying one is better than the other. What we're saying is you need to identify where you currently exist, and then sit with that for a minute. Ask yourself, do I like this identity? I'm 99% modern. I'm old school. I'm a little bit of both. I'm a part-time old school LO. I'm adaptability challenged, and I know that's not the place I need to be. And once you've identified where you are, then identify where you want to go. And then instead of saying, I'm going to become modern, the question you should be asking yourself is, what are the actions that a successful modern LO does? And then commit to those that you like, you're good at, make you money, and can benefit the world. That's doing actions that live into Ikigai. And when you do that, then you win. And it's nearly a guarantee. And then when you add in the secret sauce, which is this accountability component, you have a 95% chance of achieving your goals. So today we just want to quickly break down kind of the top skills that modern LOs who do it right and are successful, not just what's trending, but like the people that are actually making money and have been making money, and like how I made money, what they're doing. And this first one, it used to be termed social media, but Kyle and I really believe it's much more than that. It's digital relationships. Because if all I did was post on social media, it's far less impactful versus having a direct message strategy. Every platform has different characteristics. Like what's going to work on a platform like Instagram may not necessarily work on a platform like Facebook as well, or LinkedIn as well. And so managing a digital relationship strategy is so much more than just posting twice a day. Because what we find is the modern LOs who don't do it right, they go, I need to be posting more. They buy content, they use AI, and it's fully AI generated content, and it doesn't work. But we know it doesn't work.
And a great litmus test for this is I was on a call with a more old school lender last week, or this is probably actually a month ago, and I was asking him questions about his business, and his literal words were, I try to wake up early and knock out social media first. And I said, whoa. I said, let me ask you something. Based on your thought of social, knocking it out first, do you ever really think it's going to be an advantage for you? Do you ever see it as a strength in your business if your mindset around it is to just knock it out first? And, you laugh and I can laugh, but he legit was like, oh man, I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
And so the modern LO, they see the whole landscape of social, of digital, as a land of opportunity, not a land full of adversity.
Well, they're the ones who do it right. Two things, I think, to what you're discussing. It's not a 2-dimensional map. It's a 3-dimensional map.
Yeah.
I know that, like, for me, Facebook works better at certain times of the day than LinkedIn. So I'm going to pre-schedule on Facebook using my mobile phone at a different time than I'm going to pre-schedule on LinkedIn using the web browser, right?
Yeah.
That's 3-dimensional. And that's really, really important that you look at it as a 3-dimensional thing versus a 2-dimensional thing. And that's where these guys are playing small. And so they have to understand that it really comes down to that. And the other one, I can't even remember where I was going with that second one, but the 3-dimensional is really the most important thing, is understanding that, and understanding that when you say, I'm just going to knock it out in the morning, you can, in theory, you could actually do that from a straight content creation perspective. But again, that's why we don't call it social media anymore, because posting twice a day, pre-scheduled, having your experience.com reviews, auto posting and things like that, that's not building a digital relationship. That's
Right.
posting on social media. And posting on social media doesn't make you money. Building a digital relationship on social media does.
Yeah.
And I know this works. And I can say this with 100% certainty, because in the last 7 years, I've inconsistently and consistently navigated social media. And every time I've been consistent with it, I've seen tremendous growth in my business. That's been either me or someone on my team, and it actually doesn't matter. So, like, right now, I have an all international support team, like you do as well. And I have an assistant. My personal assistant lives in Egypt, and we get together on Teams all the time, and we're talking all the time. And she's actually writing out my posts. So I share my images with her on my iPhone. We have a shared folder. And she's just curating content based on my images and what she knows about me. Now, pause for a second. Here's something that's really important about building digital relationships using social media. This is not an autobiography that has to be in order. Like, so you don't have to post right now that we're talking right now. 6 weeks from now, you could be like, just reflecting back on a time I had with Shane. We were doing this call.
Yeah.
Again, it's a fiction in a way, right? Like, you're writing a story, and that story doesn't have to be real time. Yeah. And in fact, it's typically better when it's more curated. It's a 3D map. It's not a 2D map.
Well, so to your point, yesterday I found a picture from an event you and I spoke at together.
Yep, I recognize that
from back in October. And I didn't say this in the post, but it was actually taken while I was watching you speak. And the whole premise of the post was, this is my favorite picture from last year because it's me doing my favorite thing, cheering others on.
Yep.
And so I do think a lot of people, they're like, oh, I missed the moment. It's like, no, you didn't.
You never missed the moment.
Tell that story anytime.
And in fact, even if you didn't have a picture like you had, which is phenomenal, it was a great picture. Like, it was a professional photo, right? Done by a professional photographer. It literally could have been the room with you not in it. Yep. It could have been just a random room. Now, again, it's better. Again, if we're playing 3D chess, not checkers, it's better if it's you looking somewhere. It's better if it's, it's done well. And again, that's the difference between somebody who's posting on social media and somebody who is leveraging digital relationships. Now, the other reason we don't just call it social media is you've got to take this like online experience offline. And what we really mean by that for a modern LO, you're not necessarily actually taking it offline. You're taking it off the social feed into a one-on-one environment. And so that could be a direct message. It could be, hey, let's jump on a Zoom call. It could be, let's grab coffee, but it doesn't have to be. And that's honestly where the modern LO typically has a little bit of a gap. Yeah. They don't lean into, let's actually get, like, they think they have to keep the digital relationship digital, whereas the modern / old school hybrid LO, which we really, spoiler alert, that's who's going to win the most, right, the most often with the highest ceiling in any market, is that hybrid LO. They're doing what makes sense for the person that they want to build relationship with. You and I are going to meet on Zoom or Teams or whatever. For you, it might be Google Hangout. What is it called? Hangout?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because that's what you like Google better than Microsoft. I actually, in my Calendly, I let people pick Zoom, Teams, in person, or phone. I'm kind of like, hey, my goal is to build relationship with more people. And if I'm telling you that the only thing I do is a phone call, I'm not a digital modern LO, right? And I'm not. And so we got to take those relationships out of the feed and into the one-on-one setting. Now, you've done this in several different ways. One is just leveraging DMs in LinkedIn, which I think could easily be replicated in most of the other major platforms. And I think that's a great segue kind of from digital relationships, unless you have more on that, into more of an emphasis just on video in general, because you're using both social digital relationships and video. And again, the top producing modern LO is stacking skills on top of each other. What you had is the guy saying, well, I'm going to post. What he was saying is, I'm going to post right now so that my post is done for the day, which is not building digital relationships.
Right. Well, I think one of the most perfect cross sections of old school and modern is when the old school person realizes the power of a personal relationship. The modern lender realizes the effectiveness of technology. Well, to me, the intersection of that is private one-to-one video. And we're so used to only hearing video attributed to, do you want to be viral? Do you want to grow a big following? Right? So video has always just kind of been lumped in with social media, when what I've been learning over the last couple of years is, man, our brains don't know the difference between me and you hanging out right now and the last time I flew up to Seattle and spent time with you in person. Now, yes, we could argue there are experiences and feelings that take place when we're physically in the room. But like at the end of this recording, all I know is, man, it was fun hanging out with Shane today, recording that content. My brain doesn't go, hey, dude, that was fake. You don't even really know Shane. That could have been a tech bot like that. Like, our brains don't know how to differentiate between I saw Shane at coffee or I saw Shane through technology, through FaceTime, whatever. And so where I really lean in, and where I think the modern LO leans in, is how much more effective they can be in the personal touch when leveraging the power of video.
Yeah. Talk about that LinkedIn strategy just briefly.
Yeah, man. So what I have, I have a VA doing it on my behalf. You don't need that. You could do it yourself. But I've gone into BombBomb and I've recorded several different videos. One of which is, I have a company that I haven't really been promoting very much. And so I just want people to know about it. So I've just taken a very generic video. Hey, it's your buddy Kyle. I just wanted you to know about something going on in 2025. And because it's in BombBomb, we have analytics. We know who watches it. People can reply directly through the video. If they watch it twice, we know they watched it twice. And it is a very low touch, but high touch, because it's video, way to just get in front of people. And so right now we're only doing it on LinkedIn. So I've got around 10,000 first degree connections on LinkedIn. And so Kevin is just sending it out to somewhere between 110 and 130 people a day. And it's creating conversations. It's leading to Zoom meetings, right? It's giving me opportunity while I'm off doing other things that only I can do. And so you think about, if I think it was yesterday, you were talking about just looking at your Rolodex in your phone and just calling 5 people that have a last name of A. Tomorrow, call 5 people that are B. I, for myself, would say, you know, what would be better for me is, I'd love to take those 5 people and send each one of them a personal video that's like, bro, I'm the worst. I suck. We haven't spoken 3 years. Shame on me for being a bad friend. 2025 is different. And I'd love to connect with you this week, next week, whenever you're free. to me, that's such an inviting invitation versus I just pick up the phone and call somebody that hasn't talked to me in 3 years and expect them to be excited about it. But I think I can get them excited through going, dude, Kyle sent me a video. That's cool. Like that almost feels like it takes more effort than just picking up the phone and calling somebody.
So here's how this can get really, really fun. on your social platforms, you can send videos almost 24/7 because there's less of a social stigma about, dude, you sent me a video at 4 a.m. Now, because your cell phone, for now, as of the date of this, still has a little bit of a sacred like place around time. Like if you call me at midnight, that says something different than if you call me at 4 p.m. without us actually even picking up the phone. I think something's wrong.
Right.
If you send me an email at midnight, I think it's automated. If you send me a DM at 5 a.m., I think there's a time difference, right? So I think that's very important. But the reason I say that is because I think what we're seeing with modern LOs who do this well, anyone in sales, you need to have a direct messaging strategy that needs to incorporate video. And that doesn't mean that every direct message needs to be a video. You need to kind of like slap people around a little bit. It's like a video, a GIF, an image, a text, something like a picture. And that can be a really good way to effectively market to people so that they're not just getting into this lull of 7 bomb videos in a row, because then they start, even if they're all authentic, they're personal. Before I even look at them, I'm like, this looks a little bit automated to me.
Yeah.
Right. And so one thing that a modern LO does very, very good is that they use automation, but don't feel automated. And the modern LOs who suck, who are struggling, you can tell they're automated. You can tell their posts are AI. You can tell their emails are not even written by them and they're pre-scheduled. You can tell that they're leveraging Hey Gen for a video and spending hours building out an AI model instead of spending 3 minutes recording a personal video. So again, that's where it kind of leans back into old school. Like if you go full modern and you're just an AI bot, I will outperform you. And no, now you could say, well, you can send out 7,000 messages. Part of that premise is with an incorrect assumption that you can go viral, even in that sense, by sending unauthentic emails and videos. And I just, it's not to go viral. The goal is to make $1 million. Do that every year, and every year you make $1 million. Every year you make a little bit more and you work a little bit less. What if that was the goal? What if every year was your worst year? And we started that metric with $1 million, 40 hours a week. And then you went 1,000,001, 39 hours, 1,000,002, 38 hours. You're winning. And a true modern LO can do that. Now, here are a couple caveats to that. It's not wrong to do evergreen videos. That's a different strategy, but it's super effective. And so what we're talking about is actually a little bit of both, because what Kyle did on LinkedIn was an evergreen video. He recorded 2 videos, one for more of a female audience, one for more of a male audience. You can do one for more of a personal audience, one for more of a business audience. It doesn't matter. Your evergreen videos can still feel very authentic if you're being yourself. Like it's going to be me in a backwards hat and a black hoodie. I'm like, what's up? What's up, my dudes? And I say that to people who are girls and guys. Hey guys, I say guys to girls and guys. Like, so just being yourself authentically with an evergreen video can still feel very personal. But if you lean into the camera and say, Kyle, how are you, bro? Like that can be even more impactful. So I think it's really important to understand the difference between organic one-to-one video and evergreen video that can be used one-to-one. Another thing you can do, because a modern LO, I wrote a couple notes here. They have technology that helps them outwork their opportunities. Because if we all have the same opportunity, part of how I outwork you without getting burned out is using technology. And you need a video platform like Loom or BombBomb. BombBomb's a little bit more expensive than Loom, but it has more tech features. So you can start to understand the impact of your efforts.
Yeah.
An old school LO has much less data to show like, oh, my coffee appointments, I'm crushing it at a 33% conversion rate. Like you can't do that very well with just in person and just old school. Modern can. Like we have a dashboard for our company. We can look at click-through rates on Facebook Meta ads versus Google ads. We can move our strategies based on that. You can get more effective spending your money as a modern LO if you dig into the data and the tech. Yep. They also use cheat codes to compress time. What I started doing on my iPhone is every morning I have a daily routine. I get up at 5:30. I do about a 15-minute devotional. Then I stretch and do body work. So I do foam roll, I do lacrosse balls to like break up all the scar tissue. I stretch. And while I'm doing that, I'm listening to Bible verses. I'm reading the Bible and I'm listening to the Bible in a year.
Yeah.
And so that's my morning routine. When I'm done with that, my mind is in a better place. And I instantly start thinking about people that I need to pray for, I need to think about. And so then I go into this authentic sales time where I pre-schedule text messages on my iPhone. And now Apple has that feature where you can actually go onto your iPhone and you can go in and you can pre-schedule a text message. And so I'll go in and it's under the send later feature on your iPhone. And I know Android has this and like you could do this with third-party apps. But like if I'm sending a personal message from my personal phone, I can still do that at 5:30 in the morning without sending it at 5:30 in the morning.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Like I have a mentor that's going in for a procedure today and like it didn't make sense. I know he's an early riser. So I texted him at 6:45. He responded right away. That wouldn't necessarily be appropriate for a female employee that works for my company.
Right.
And so that's how you can use cheat codes to compress time. You can say, hey, I've got this time I'm stretching, because compressing time, the definition of that is doing more than one thing at a time. So while I'm stretching, healing my body, listening to my Bible, so I'm following through on my personal commitments, I'm texting people and sending those text messages out later. Like I went into my technology and I can pre-schedule all my communication to my team in Microsoft Teams. So they have a whole week of challenges they're doing. I pre-scheduled that on Sunday when my brain was in this, like I was in like flow state for like 20 minutes. And I think that's really important. So we firmly believe that a modern lender needs to have a personal one-on-one strategy. And that should include video. It can also just be as simple as like Kyle was sending out, hey, I want to introduce you to my company. It could be, hey, I've been a bad friend. It could be like even what we talked about yesterday, taking that script that I used, so like for a phone conversation and flipping that to a video.
Yeah.
You know, during COVID, I let a lot of things lapse. I focused on the wrong things. And one of the things I let lapse was staying in touch with people I care about. And like I made a commitment this year to just go through my phone and send messages to people I care about. And Kyle, you're on that list today. Here's what I appreciate about you. And then say something personal about them.
Yeah.
I appreciate how freaking positive you are. I appreciate, you know, your empathy that most dudes don't have. I appreciate your love for sports and Ken Griffey Jr. Dude, I hope today is so much better than yesterday and tomorrow's better than today. Have a great day. Dude, that video hits.
Yeah.
When you're in flow. And so that's where the guy in the morning is like, I'm just going to knock out my social media. Don't knock out social media at 6 a.m. Knock out all of your automation at 6 a.m. that you can then have go out when it's the best time and the best place to the right audience.
That's it.
All right. So I want to go into this other category, and it's a little generic because there's so much behind this, but a truly successful modern LO manages, grows, and curates digital community.
Yeah.
And there are a ton of different ways you can do that. One of those is actually have a digital community. Now, that could be as simple as a Facebook group that you're curating and you're loving on. It could be a school account, which I'm not overly impressed with school. We use Go High Level, and our Go High Level Fuel has a community platform built inside it. The collective is built off of, like, our digital version of the collective is built off of Mighty Networks, which is an incredible, we researched a lot. It's an incredible platform for creating and managing a digital community. So you can actually have a digital community. You can also build community digitally. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. And then building a community digitally, it can include a lot of things. It could be courses, it could be classes, it could be webinars. We talked in one of our our one-time products series that we did, a sprint on the best, most effective lead generation. And we firmly believe that that's teaching, educating, sharing knowledge. Yeah. And one of the key ways of doing that is building out webinars. And again, what I reject is the person who says, well, Shane, if I teach a class in person, it's way more effective than you having a webinar. And that's a two-dimensional view. That's looking at a 2D map. Yes, Bob, you're correct. You teaching a class to 10 agents tomorrow and me recording a webinar tomorrow, you have more impact then. But like, you have to spend your effort every day to go drive and teach that class to a new audience. Once I build that webinar once, it can live on for years automatically online. So impact to a modern LO is very different than impact to an old school LO. I believe, as we're kind of working through this, old school LOs like they feel impact more in the moment, less so over time, because if they stop doing things, like if they stop doing their committed actions, their impact starts to diminish. Where if I stop doing my actions, like if I took 6 months and I built out 52 webinars, 52 emails, 52 text messages, 52 videos, gave it to my full-time assistant, worked with her for a week on exactly how to broadcast all of those things, I could actually probably go away for 52 weeks, 52 days, and I probably would see very little diminishing return on that activity. So that's one of the things that's so powerful about being a modern LO. And so I want like how just add a little bit more like dimension to this thought around digital community, because you've done this really well.
Well, I think first of all, in order to be an attractive digital community, you yourself as the leader of that have to be a little bit vulnerable. You've got to be bigger than business, right? Like people need to have legit reasons as to why they're bought into you. And so if you're the LO that's like, well, I'm just going to post tips and tricks and I'm just going to show up as the money guy all the time, you're probably not going to grow much of a community, because how often in somebody's life do they need what you have? And if only the offering you've got is money, if they're buying a house every 5 years, well then, man, 4.5 of those 5 years, they don't really need somebody like you. So we've got to expose the sides of ourselves that probably come up in one-on-one coffee appointments, but a lot of that stuff doesn't make it to social. And so that's probably the first piece. I think the second piece, Shane, to building a good digital community is being willing to try everything. You know, like I love teaching in-person classes. I'm really good at it. But I also love showing up online like you and I are doing right now and loving on people digitally. And so I don't think we've got to go, well, that's the right way and that's the wrong way.
Yeah.
All of it works if it's committed to over a certain length of time. But most people are like, well, I tried to do a couple videos. Like that's, and then what? Well, I didn't get anything, so I quit doing them. I tried to teach a couple classes. Well, and then, well, like I didn't get leads right away and it just felt like a waste of time. And so I think the biggest piece to the digital community is understanding like this will work if you don't stop, right? It's no different than eating healthy. It's no different than doing cardio. I may not see the difference the night, after I do an hour of cardio. But if I just stick committed to the process, like my body will begin to change. I will feel better. And so that's why, you ended part 3 yesterday with just really sobering facts, right? Data about the likelihood of someone finishing something out with others versus without others. And everything we're talking about today, none of it is rocket science. None of it is, oh my gosh, I've never heard a video. Yes, I'm going to go try that. All of it is, do you have the people around you that will help you stay committed to the process? And if you do, you'll build out a great digital community. You'll show up online more as a brand than a salesperson that's trying to connect with others. But we've got to give it more than 3 days if we want to see this thing through. And we've got so many great courses and resources that dig into the details of that will help you guys. And that's really why we exist in general.
The successful entrepreneur, the successful LO, the successful fill in the blank, they have a 95% chance of completing their goal when they're meeting regularly with an accountability partner. The unsuccessful LO who had the goal of being successful, the unsuccessful husband who had the goal of being successful, they complete their goals 10% of the time when they only have a plan, but they have no accountability. Isn't that true for every area of our lives?
Yeah.
If we have a plan and no accountability, that's a resolution. If we have a plan with accountability, and then we do it, that's a commitment, right? A commitment is moving a mountain with a shovel.
Yeah.
It's far easier to do that when you have somebody else that steps in and helps you dig. The reality is it's far easier to do that when you're able to identify where you sit in this space. I'm modern and old school. I'm 50-50, but these are the skills. These are the top 3 skills as a modern LO that make me money, that I like, that I'm good at, that benefit other people. Igigai. These are the top 3 things I do as an old school LO that make me money, I'm good at, that I enjoy, and that bless other people. Igigai. And that's how this all comes together. And so like if you're watching this and you watch the other 3, you're already doing better than the vast majority of people out there. But you need to not only commit to yourself, commit to others, be held accountable. That's the true definition of having a plan. We've just bastardized that word. So now it's like, I plan to lose weight. You won't. I plan to be a great spouse. That ain't enough. I plan to make last year my worst year ever. Good luck. So guys, as we end this part of the series and move into part 5 next, I'm really excited for you to start taking everything we've talked about. We've talked about the top skills, the kind of the core 2 identities in this business that will work. Yeah. We've talked about blending them both at some level. We've talked about finding that flow state, that state of Igigai. We talked about how you have to outwork the opportunity or you'll be the median. And we're going to go into tomorrow some ways to like really fully launch this and help you take your business to the next level. And what you'll find is it'll probably take some other area of your life to the next level as well.
I love it, man. I can't wait. I wish part 5 was already happening, but it's going to be on the next one. So y'all need to play this one again, play it again. But when you're ready, we'll see you on the next one.